Hello everyone, I hope you're well. I'm going to do a Friday Reads video but really chat about my book club and my book club books. So I used to run a book club on the channel called Tay's Book Club. I then moved it over to my Patreon and it's still going to be run on my Patreon. Every month I'm going to choose a new book from the Patreon. I do 2 videos a week over on Patreon. But I'm also going to put the book club back on the channel as well starting from October. So I thought I would tell you what book I have chosen for us to read in October on this channel. Just put the hashtag Tay Book Club anywhere and then I can see your reviews and everything. And I have chosen a book that I have never read anything from the author. It's quite intimidating. People say it can be a very difficult read, very challenging read, and it is Virginia Woolf's To the Lighthouse. We're going to be reading this for the whole of October. I thought give it a full month because people said it's a difficult read, but because I haven't read any Virginia Woolf, I'm like, what do you mean it's a difficult read? I also can't work out what the plot is because people have said, oh, it's about a lighthouse, which is a guest house, and a family goes there, but it's nothing to do with the plot. It's really about the mother. And I'm like, well, what about the mother? What's the plot around that? Oh no, Hannah, it's nothing to do with the plot. It's just about to do with her as a person. I don't know what it's about, so I still have absolutely no idea. I'm going into it completely blind, so please don't leave any spoilers in the comments for anyone. And if you are interested in reading this along with me in October, then let me know, comment down below. I thought I would give you loads of notice so that if you need to get the book or get the book out of the library and request it, you can. This is a very famous book, so you'll be able to get it in bookshops and in libraries. So I thought this was a good one to choose. So tell me if you are excited to read this along with me. On my Patreon, we are reading this month George Orwell's 1984 together, and oh my god, I feel like he has predicted the future. I feel like so many things in the book that he says are going to happen are happening right now. I have 2 other book club books that I want to finish off this weekend, and this was the last time I ran a book club just openly on my channel. I chose these 2 books, but then do you remember I put that video out and I got massive backlash about something, and so because of that I wasn't really making regular videos anymore, and these videos kind of fell by the wayside. I have the books that I'm currently reading on my bedside table and I took them off the bedside table. So Sula by Toni Morrison. I am just over halfway through this, so I'm going to finish this off this weekend. It's about 2 girls, they live in a small town and they're very different in personalities, and then one of them goes off and then she comes back to the town years later. The thing with this, and this is a really annoying habit that I have, is that if I read a book by an author who I absolutely love that author, if the book isn't up to scratch as the other books that I've read from that author, I'm like, well, what's the point in reading it? I've read from Toni Morrison, Jazz and The Bluest Eye, and was blown away with those books, thought they were absolutely amazing. And Sula for me so far, I think it's amazing. I still think it's a really high standard of book, but it hasn't, I just am not as connected to it as I was the other 2 books. So I'm like, well, I've already read her best. Why would I waste time on something that's not going to be like a new favourite from that author? But obviously that's ridiculous because I should just take every book as it comes. It's almost like with authors, if they bring out a really good book, I'm trying to top their performance with the next book. I'm like, well, it just must better and better and better, and that's just not obviously what happens. Also, I buy all my books from a charity shop, so I never read the author's books in order of when they were published. It's just in order of when I bought them, so it's such a random thing to do, to be like, well, it better be as good as the last one. So I've only tabbed one moment in this book, whereas throughout The Bluest Eye and throughout Jazz, I just had so many tabs, so many beautiful quotes. Oh, I just absolutely adored them, but still, this is of a very high standard. And I don't know how to explain this to you. Like, I was thinking before I did this video, I was like, how am I going to talk about Sula without trying to make out that it's bad, because it's not. It's still really, really good. There are books that I can read and I can read very quickly and enjoy them, but in a year's time I'm not going to remember the plot of them. They haven't stayed with me in any kind of way. And then there are books where maybe I didn't enjoy reading them as much and they weren't as easy, but they stick with me, and bits within them, like the imagery is so good that it stays within me forever. So it's a much better book in my opinion in that. For me, I don't read for escapism, I read for stuff that is going to stay with me and just kind of live alongside me, live with me forever. That's what I like within books. and Toni Morrison definitely does that with her imagery. And someone explained it, I was watching someone's video the other day and they said it's almost like she writes around what she's writing about. So the scene is going on right here and she'll never tell you directly what's going on in the scene. She'll write all around it, so it builds up the whole picture within your mind, and it's so magical. It's amazing. And so when it finally drops, when you get the whole scene and it's like a shocking moment, it has such, it's so more impactful, it's so much more impactful than if she just told us straight away, kind of like in a horror film when there's a really good build up to something. So I still think this is a good book, but it's just not as good as the other two that I've read from her so far. But things can change, because at the moment the two girls are still living in the town together, and I haven't got to the bit where one of them moves away then comes back. I haven't got to that, so I don't know what's going to happen there. I only know the two girls hanging around together, tragic things are happening around them. I'm going to finish this off this weekend, and then I'm going to finish off The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling, which I really haven't got into at all, and I was reading this for the book club. And then once I've finished off those two, I'll put up a picture of one of them on Instagram, and then you can leave me your reviews of the books, and I'll maybe do like a book review video of it or anything if you read it at the time of the book club. Sorry I didn't read these two. I do feel bad, I do feel with guilt, because I was like, oh, let's read this for the book club, and then I just didn't read them. But I think you'd understand there was a lot going on my YouTube channel at that time, a lot of like drama and everything, so that's why it just, my YouTube channel almost feels like it was on pause for a while, and then now I'm kind of resuming it. So anyway, so I'm going to finish off soon. I really didn't get into The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling. I've read Just Those Stories by Rudyard Kipling. Don't. So good. They are not really short stories, but they're stories about how the camel got his hump, stuff like that, like how the cat got the cat's place, and they are so good. So how the cat got its cat's place is a story about a cat who kind of tricks a woman into coming into the home. So the cat gets to lay by the fire all day, and it's like every animal has a use apart from the cat. The cat is so lazy and just sits by the fire. So how did the cat come to get that place? And it's just so good. I cannot recommend it enough. It's absolutely amazing. I have the Everyman edition of it, and it's such a lovely edition as well. I got it from a charity shop, but it's a lovely edition if you're looking for a nice edition of that book. So I thought this would have the same kind of charm, but it's really serious. It's like a serious thing. I don't think as a child I liked the Jungle Book film. I found it too frightening. Anything though, like you would have said boo to me as a child and I would have ran away. Like I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't deal with people in masks, like at the parades, like absolutely not. My town had a parade, it was a carnival where it's like floats, and they stand for different companies, and if anyone was wearing a mask I'd flip out. Like I couldn't even deal with anything like that. So cartoons, Maleficent, I couldn't stand. I loved Sleeping Beauty, but every time Maleficent came on I used to just leave the room. So I wasn't very good with stuff like that. So I don't know if it's because as a child I found Jungle Book really scary that now I'm just not that into finding out what it's about. I don't think I really know what the Jungle Book is about. I have seen the Jungle Book live action, but I don't know if that's going to be similar to the book at all. So it's obviously about Mowgli, who is raised by wolves. And then I'm at the bit where it's decided the wolves are saying we can't raise Mowgli forever, we need some kind of help, and so other people are helping as well. I'm gonna have to reread this. I'm 50 pages in, but I don't really remember it. You know, when you haven't picked up a book for a while, it irritates me, so I have to go back and reread it all. This edition is a really old edition, and it has stunning pictures within it. It's really beautiful. So I'm going to go back to this. I'm not sure if it's going to be just really serious and that's it, or if it's going to be serious and kind of have life lessons within it. Let me know down below if you're like, Hannah, no, you got it wrong, like it's going to be so good, you're going to love it. Me and Dom are actually going to be moving soon because we have bought a house and I have also bought a shop. So I'm going to be opening up that and sorting everything out, but I really wanted to get back into the swing of making videos, so I thought I'd just sit down, have a chat. I used to do this all the time, just sit down almost every Friday, do a Friday Reads video and talk about books and life and setting my hair on fire in church, if you remember that Friday Reads. And so I thought I would just sit down and chat. So this weekend I am going to finish Sula and the Jungle Book, and then I'll get in your reviews as well for that. and then I'm going to read some more of George Orwell's 1984. I'm flying through this. If there is anyone that thinks, like, I was quite intimidated by this book before I read it because it's such a classic. I was thinking, oh, is it going to be interesting? I also hate dystopian. I don't like dystopian, I don't like sci-fi, and I have no idea why. I just don't. I don't like those kind of films either. And so I was thinking, am I going to like this? Oh, it's so good. It is like he has predicted the future. It's amazing. I'm absolutely adoring it so much. Also, I feel like there's so much you can say about social media and everything. Don't. I feel like everyone on my Patreon is going to be like, we're sick and tired, Hannah, of you talking about that book. Stop now, but I'm just loving it. And so, well, I'm reading that for the Patreon, and then Virginia Woolf to Lighthouse. I'm not going to start this until October, so we can all start it together in October. Tell me if you're going to be reading this book, and I'm going to end it here. So let me know in the comments if you're going to read along with October's pick, To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf, and I will see you when I see you on my Patreon. I'll see you soon because I do 2 videos a week at least, and on here I will see you when I see you for another video.